Thanks for joining us tonight. Our sign language interpreter is William Silla. Deputy President William Ruto is defending Jubilee's record on the fight against corruption. The Deputy President says President Uhuru Kenyatta's government is the only one that has waged an all-out war on graft since Kenya's independence. He dismissed criticism from the opposition that the government has not done enough to stem corruption in government. Here is part of that exchange on corruption in Kenya.
We do not need a lecture from them. We have done what no government has done since independence. We have given sufficient resources to all investigating authorities, from the DPP to the EACC to our courts. We have revived the Financial Reporting Center. We have revived the Asset Recovery Center because we are committed to making sure that we get rid of corruption in Kenya.
Lakini wale ambao wamepatikana na makosa ya wizi ya pesa ya umma lazima wasipatiwe nafasi kuzunguka wakidanganya wa Kenya ati sio mimi ni yule ama ilikuwa mimi na yule. Kama wewe umepatikana, lazima kwanza ukubali ufungwe, ndio yule unasema nilipatia pesa ama niliongea na yeye akiwa anachunguzwa, wewe unalala kwa seli.
Mtaona watu wa Rift Valley wote, watu wa Kenya hii watajiunga kama kitu kimoja, kwa sababu wamechoka. Hata hapa watu wa Central Province wamechoka na wizi.
Ile gawaje waliiba, lakini walimeza pamoja na miiba. Ilienda ikakoma kwa koo, imekoma kwa koo yao. Wakijaribu kumeza haimezeki. Sasa wamepoteza mita, hawajui hii ni kushoto au kulia, hawajui hiyo ni kwenda au ni kurudi. Wamekaa pale wameshikwa na bumbuwazi.
Now, it's just about a week before the by-elections in Malindi and Kericho, and their campaigns have now hit fever pitch. KANU bigwigs have pitched camp in Kericho to drum up support for Paul Sang in a make-or-break contest with Jubilee's Aaron Cheriot.
It's been yet another weekend of campaign rallies ahead of the Kericho by-election. The Jogoo Brigade landed at Lesiro Secondary School in Kipkelion West, sounding the warning crow of a landslide victory for KANU's candidate Paul Sang by the close of the polls on the March 7th by-election.
Sisi tunapigia debe chama mbuchi Paul Sang kwa sababu tunaamini akienda kule Senate atafanya mabadiliko.
For those in doubt, KANU is in government. We have an agreement with the government, the present government, in the Jubilee coalition. All we are saying is that we want those leaders who made promises to our people to keep their promises.
KANU Brigade took a swipe at the ruling Jubilee coalition over claims of using state resources in the Kericho campaigns, including alleged use of local chiefs to campaign for the Jubilee candidate Aaron Cheriot.
Kuambia serikali kama mmeshindwa kutumia viongozi wenyu wa kisiasa, wachane na machifu ambaye hawatakiwi kujihusisha na siasa.
Wa Jubilee ni kijana mdogo ambaye amepewa nafasi katika chama hili la Jubilee. Si tunasema asante.
Tutafuti mtu ya kuwakilisha serikali. Tunaelewana? Hatutafuti yule ambao atawakilisha serikali. Kama serikali anataka mwakilishi, tayari wana county commissioner.
In the by-election, the Jubilee Brigade is banking on the votes of the youth to take the 30-year-old Aaron Cheriot to the Senate, while the KANU camp is popularizing the candidature of Paul Sang on grounds of his development track record during his 2 terms as Bureti MP and one-time health minister.
Umri ukiwa mdogo haimaanishi wewe uweze kuwa kiongozi.
Wanaweza kuweka makazi yao na wengine, lakini hii kazi si ya makazi.
ni ya mtumishi wa watu wa Kericho County.
But the race for the seat, which fell vacant after the appointment of Charles Keter to the cabinet, has slowly turned into a test of might in the South Rift between the ruling coalition and the Independence Party KANU ahead of the August 2017 general election. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, it was under the coalition government that Kenya secured herself a date with the International Criminal Court. But for a country which voluntarily signed and ratified the Rome Statute establishing the ICC, something went awfully wrong in relations with the Hague-based court after some of Kenya's high and mighty were humbled by the international criminal justice system. Kenya is now spearheading a campaign for the withdrawal of African countries from the ICC. Rita Tinina takes a look at the complex affair between Kenya and the ICC.
Described as a post-World War II phenomena, the road to the establishment of the International Criminal Court was a long and controversial one. The idea of setting up an international criminal justice system was first mooted in 1872 by Gustave Monnier, a founder of the International Committee of the Red Cross. When the idea materialized decades later, Kenya in 1999 became the 98th state party to sign the Rome Statute, the treaty establishing the ICC. 6 years later, Kenya ratified the statute.
We as Kenyans quickly joined the rest of the international community in saying that we abhor. We indeed think that life and civility is so important that no situation, not war, not breakdown of peace should make us run away from those responsibilities. So we joined there as members of international community, very happy.
And the 2007-2008 post-election violence would provide Kenya its first encounter with the Hague-based court. In the aftermath of the violence, the Mwai Kibaki-led coalition government set up a commission of inquiry into the post-election violence, headed by Justice Philip Waki.
The coalition government had an opportunity to actually establish a local mechanism. If that had happened to deal with the issues of violence, ICC would never have come into the picture. Indeed, when Waki and his team gave us their report, they said, look, you have an opportunity to find local mechanisms. Should you fail, then we shall say this envelope be handed over to international criminal court so that they can take it up. So the first choice was always our own internal mechanism.
Kenya missed its chance to come up with a local tribunal to try perpetrators of the post-election violence, when in February 2009, Parliament voted against a bill to establish a special tribunal, effectively booking the country a date with the ICC.
We didn't believe that justice could be found locally. We thought that the international community could give us justice.
ICC prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo came into the picture with a list of suspects dubbed the Ocampo Six. Uhuru Kenyatta, who was by then Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, then Head of Civil Service Francis Mudhaura, Cabinet Ministers William Ruto and Henry Kosgei, Police Commissioner Mohamed Hussein Ali and radio journalist Joshua Arap Sang. ICC judges in January 2012 declined to confirm charges against Henry Kosgei and Mohamed Hussein Ali. Francis Mudhaura was off the ICC list on the 18th of March 2013 when the court withdrew charges against him. President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory came on the 13th of March last year when the ICC terminated the case against him. Ruto and Sang are still battling to have the crimes against humanity charges against them terminated.
Yes, Madam President.
The Kenyan cases, which saw the country's high and mighty humbled by the international criminal justice system, would cause strained relations between Kenya and the ICC.
Once we went there, we never liked what went on. Now we've started saying this court was not meant for, it was only meant for Africans. It seems to be punishing Africans more. I think let's separate the wheat from the chaff. The issues are that there are certain crimes that assume international proportion.
But even before the Kenyan cases began, the country in 2011 began a quest to disengage from the ICC when the government challenged the admissibility of the Kenyan cases. Then Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka would later engage in shuttle diplomacy to try and have the cases deferred. and Kenya's efforts would get support. The African Union in October 2013 called for the deferral of cases against sitting heads of state and government until they leave office. In 2013, the Kenyan Parliament in an emergency motion approved Kenya's exit from the ICC. Last year, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee approved the publication of a bill seeking to repeal the Rome Statute, the treaty that established the ICC, as the AU tried a different strategy. The 54-member continental body, 34 of which are signatories to the Rome Statute, pushed to have the United Nations Security Council put the deferral issue on its agenda during the 70th session of the UN General Assembly in New York. And now the latest in the long road to cut ties with the ICC is the African Union's move to adopt a proposal by President Uhuru Kenyatta to develop a roadmap for withdrawal from the Rome Statute.
We will not and must not tire in this effort to reform the ICC. I therefore urge you to adopt the resolutions of the Ministerial Committee on ICC and include a new mandate to develop a roadmap for withdrawal from the Rome Statute as necessary.
Countries are allowed to withdraw from the Rome Statute, but every country will have to go through the ropes alone. But a withdrawal from the Rome Statute will not free Kenya from any other treaties it may have signed, and which would force the country to enforce certain aspects of the international criminal law justice system.
And if we have done so, then we will know that our withdrawing is not enough unless we withdraw from the others, so that the effect of our Article 6 in our Constitution is upheld, which is that any treaty or convention that Kenya has signed to is part and parcel of the Kenyan laws. So we do have that step to audit, to review, and to see how far we can go.
No country has withdrawn from the Rome Statute, and Kenya, which has been spearheading the campaign against the ICC, would go into history books if at all. But even then, a withdrawal will not affect ongoing cases.
Let us not throw the baby with the bathwater. We've had a nasty experience, we've had an unwelcome experience with the ICC because our own leaders have been tried there, but that shouldn't make us say that this institution is a problem. Of course, with time, our leaders will find justice, and when they do, we might still need these institutions in the coming days.
If past initiatives are anything to go by, parting ways with the ICC will not be an easy affair. Rita Tinina, KTN News.